Hey everybody, you know it's me. I'm on here with my no edges attacks. No edges, female. So I decided to talk about me being single and me being a single mother in the context of psychological spiritual growth. So on one of my posts that I did recently, a guy stated like, "Oh, there goes, the new another baby mama," and you know, it kind of hurt my feelings. But then I thought about it, and I was like, "Why do people do that?" So lately, I've been kind of trapped in this cycle of interracial dating, ideology. Not that I just really dwell on that because I date outside of my race when I do date, but mostly because I posted these videos and then I get responses. And so then when I respond, I'm thinking about it. And, when you post responses to people, you want it to be thoughtful. So then you like look up stuff. And so I was seeing all these articles, um, recent articles, 2017, 2018, of studies being done about black women, how they're unwanted, how all the races have agreed that black women are the least attractive, and even when the races have agreed that the black women are attractive, they're still unwilling to date them because of their societal position. And it was another article talking about how OkCupid and Tinder's AIs ended up being racist. Obviously, we all know Tinder itself, the AI or the program, is not racist. But because the intention for the program was to be a smart program and anticipated what people want based on the responses of the people, Tinder started filtering out black women just because they were anticipating that people, you know, they swipe left on black women. Um, so they kind of saw that, and I don't even know if they fixed it. I think their stance is, we created this program to be a smart program. It predicts what people like, and people don't like black women, and that's a dating preference. And I don't think they're gonna change that. I mean, you can't have equal opportunity dating. You can't force on people. So stuff like that has just been kind of like weighing on my heart, because I try to see everything from a logical standpoint and point of view. And this is not to be very critical of my white sisters. Really, like, I love y'all, and I know that as fellow women, your place in society is not easy either. But just as a logical observation, there's no most of my black female friends, or acquaintances, people that I know on Facebook, are unmarried. And majority, if not all, of my white female friends are married. And I know black men would like to espouse and all the differences, what makes white women better than black women. However, although there may be slight nuances, which I really don't think so, honestly, I think black women and white women are very similar. If you want to talk about different, like, characteristic differences, maybe between like black women and Asian women, probably have the most differences, but in reality, like, all women are the same. Ask any woman who has lots of friends, they're all the same. So when you see situations like that and you see that all women are the same, but for some women, they just are not single. They don't ever have to be single, for no other reason than really the color of their skin. Sometimes it's just a hard, difficult pill to swallow. And I'm trying to do all this work with myself with Eric Erickson's psychological phases. And intimacy versus isolation is, I guess, technically the one that I'm in right now. The main question of that is, will I be loved? So, although black men like to say that the reason why they're not dating black women is for all of these extraneous, stupid reasons, the reality is, if every black man that was not in jail today and had not been murdered decided that they wanted to date a black woman, a large portion of black women still would not be able to be married, because whether anybody likes to realize it or not, or state it or not, the reality is many black men are just missing. They just don't exist anymore. There's been so much homicide within our community. There's been so much of this prison culture pushed upon us that there's just not enough for us to go around. That's if we were living in this great pretend world, but we're not living there. So you have to take out all the men who choose to date white. I think the real stats is like 20 to 30%, but that's a guess. The study that I read, that was like a official study done on interracial dating, said like 92% of black men were willing to date outside of their race. So that's the majority of them. Um, so we can't take out 92%. That's not realistic. So let's just say you take out like 30 or 40% who are gonna marry somebody outside their race. Then you have to cut out the ones who don't want women, right? And gays, let me let y'all know, I've heard really awful rumors that y'all don't like to date same race either, but we're not gonna do that right now. Just talk about the heterosexual interracial dating. So take out the gays, and then take out the prison culture. You're left with a really small group of men who are willing to date black women. And so then you have women like me who are really not trying to fight that and say like, hey, I'll date outside of my race, there's no problem. But as this study read that I read that as this study showed that I read, um, that so many black, not just black men, but the ideology behind why black women are not dateable is starting to spread within the country, throughout cultures. So I feel like as I age, there's less of a willingness to date black women, um, and then those those feelings are obvious. Like we see them. So my point is, now I'm 36. I'm gonna be 37 this year. I'm 4 years, 3 years away from being 40. Like I guess that's kind of like over the hill when you're almost 40. Um, and I'm a single mom. There's not a lot of things, if I look back, say what you want to say about me, about who I am. But when I look back, I was always the girl that wanted the big family. As a child, I wanted 6 kids. That was like a goal of mine in elementary school. That was, as a little girl, that's what I dreamed of. Some people dream of being rich, some people dream of being famous. I dreamed of having a lot of children. So when the opportunity presented itself, that sounds very opportunistic, right? But there's plenty of girls who get pregnant and they have abortions for whatever reason. I wasn't the smartest about it, but when I was given the gift of motherhood, it was something that I knew within myself that I always wanted. So I didn't want to deny it to myself. The guys that I chose to do it with, trust me, has been punishment enough, outside of how people think of me and treat me. Um, but if I had to go back and make that decision again, I would make that decision again. Not to have sex, but like if I had to choose between aborting my kid or living with the problems and issues that I did in order to have the wonderful children that I have, I would definitely choose to do it again because they've been such a wonderful addition to my life. They've given me the family that I've always wanted. When I come home from work, they tell me they love me. They are always there for me. And I know people will be like, oh, you can't have children to love them. Trust me, like my oldest son is 16, he'll be 17 this year. So I understand that. I know that you have to work. I know that you have to put effort into your children. But as a woman who always wanted a family, right? I could see if you didn't want a family. But as a person who's saying that my goals were to have a family, and my culture is basically telling me that I can, why should I be ashamed of the fact that I decided to make my own path and have my own family? People might say stuff about me being a burden on society. And truth be told, when I was young, when I had my first kid, I was 19, I was on the state. I did end up on welfare. I didn't get food stamps. Well, I did get food stamps. I didn't get money because some women, you can get food stamps and then you can get cash from the state. The state gave me an option. They said you can get the WIC, right? Which they help you with like the government food. It's not like great food. It's just basic cheese, milk, bacon, stuff like that. And then they have like this cash stipend that you can get, and then they have free babysitting. But what they told me was that they also offered free college tuition. But if I took the college tuition as part of my welfare, I would not be able to get daycare and I would not be able to get the monthly stipend. I think that's how it went. It might also have had like some issues with my son's father because he wanted me to he didn't want he didn't want his name to go to the government as being the responsible party. Um so anyways, the point is that's the package that I was offered. So instead of taking the money, the cash, and the babysitting, I kind of worked with my parents, and I took the food stamps and the college tuition. And yes, I ended up with government health insurance and free college tuition for 4 years. But on the flip side of that is once I finished school, I became a productive tax paying member of society. And in 10 years, 5 years after I started my career, I moved to LA. I was making six figures. I am not now because I'm in Arizona, but as a nurse, you can easily make six figures in LA. And I wasn't no Donald Trump, so I was paying full head of household taxes for the whole time that I was there. So it might have been a little bit of a weight on society, but I ended up paying back what I took from society and more once I became a tax-paying citizen. I didn't go to jail because those are burdens on society too, because we have to pay for them to be jailed, which is $60,000 a year. And I didn't just not pull my weight because if you're below the poverty line, you don't have to pay taxes. You don't have to contribute to society. So all of the money that you pay in taxes comes back to you. I didn't end up in that position. Like I took the money that was given to me by the state and I ended up being a productive member of society, contributing to our taxes, which goes to our infrastructure and, police officers and stuff like that. So I figure at when I look back on my life that I didn't have the pathway that white girls have. There was no man that was gonna sit there and say, "Hey, I love you." Like maybe it was some guys in the hood, but were there gonna be any that was gonna be on my trajectory trying to get degrees? I mean, that's part of the problem in the black community is that it's not like, oh, I just want a warm body in my bed. I need a good husband. That means I need somebody that's on the same mindset that I'm in. So are they trying to achieve? Are they trying to oh hey toy doll. But are they trying to achieve? Are they trying to get to the next level of society? Are they trying to be a productive citizen or are they still stuck in their ways? I my son's father didn't want to marry me, honestly. But when we were together, he was selling drugs. When I was trying to take one of my tests for one of my classes, he got shot in the neck. You know what I mean? So, like, yeah, he wasn't on welfare, but he was not on a trajectory of trying to be a productive member of society? And what would that have done to my life if I chose to marry him just for the sake of being married? Um, and then I met my daughter's father a decade later, and he was on the same path. You know what I mean? And he actually wasn't black, he was Hispanic, but he had a construction job when I met him, which I thought was great. But by the time we started dating, it was like it deteriorated. He quit the job. He went back to like doing nothing, kind of just like wandering around and being up to no good, starting a lot of fights. And he ended up, by the time we got divorced, he was back in jail. If I had stayed with him, that would have pulled on me. How could I become a productive member of society if I'm out in the streets, pulling people, out of places where they shouldn't be, fighting people? I can't, like, I did marry him, but we had to get divorced. I can't be stuck in that kind of world, in that kind of lifestyle. And I can't be restricted to, well, I can't have a family until some non-existent man comes along and picks me up. Not like I'm telling women, "Oh, go out there and have your own kids," but I wanted kids. I wanted a family. And so in this society which is deemed black women as unattractive and ugly, should I hold myself to those standards and say everybody thinks I'm ugly, so I guess I'm just going to have to give up on my dreams. Everybody thinks that I'm unattractive, so I guess I'll just never have a family. I think family is beyond this exterior. You know what I mean? Family is more than that. Family is unconditional love. Family is what you're willing to give to people, to do for people. My children don't love me because they think I'm the most beautiful woman in the world. They love me because they see me for who I am and how much work that I put into this household. Anyway, so I was just thinking about that, about all of these statements that people make about black women and how we're all so unattractive. And I just don't think that I should hold myself to that. I just don't think that if the world has said that I'm ugly and that I'm not worth marrying, I think that at this age, as a almost 40-year-old, looking back, the fact that I raise my kids, I pay my taxes, I'm a contributing member of society, I take care literally of others, I literally wipe other people's butts around me. I think that I think that I'm happy with the family that I have, and I think that I'm proud of myself because I've created a new path to my goals. So, I'm probably not going to be able to have a husband. I'm probably not going to be able to have like a boyfriend or be engaged in a healthy relationship. But, what I was able to achieve with my kids, with my sister, with my parents, having happy relationships with those around me that are willing to give me that relationship, I think I should be proud of that. And I don't think that I should have to be embarrassed because of some norms that were pushed on me. Oh, thanks, Toy Doll. I mean, I don't really care if it happens. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of my friends that are married are unhappy or they're divorced. There's a lady in town, it's so awful. Happily married, nurse practitioner, husband is a cop. He killed her in front of her kids. So I'm not really pushing. I'm not like, oh, I just want a man to have a man because I see what a lot of women are going through. I'm just saying I'm tired of people pushing that stereotype or norm or ideology on me that I should be embarrassed because I'm a single mother. I wish people would look at the statistics and look at the facts and see that for most black women, it's not going to be for them where they're going to have a husband and a happy family. That's not what is an acceptable pathway for us in this country. It's just not. And we should not be embarrassed because that we develop lives in spite of that societal statement. Society says you're ugly. Society says you can't have a family. And then we push in unconventional ways to meet our female drives. And I don't think we should be embarrassed for that. And I don't think I'm really tired of people, looking down on me because I'm a single mother because I have to work twice as hard to get everything done. I have to work twice as hard to just be on the same playing field as my peers. And I am on the same playing field. I am making money. I am living in a nice place. And I don't feel like I should have to be embarrassed at all. Like this is what it, instead of just like looking at black women and just thinking we are pathetic, ugly, this and this and that. Like we really should, if they can't see it, we should see ourselves as overcomers because the statistics are against us. There are no black men. Okay, there's some, but for the most of us, there are no black men to settle down with. And then the cultural societies have pushed so that we're not going to get husbands. But in spite of that, we still have homes, we still have jobs, and we still have children and families that love us. We should not be embarrassed of that. We should be proud of that because we don't have to subscribe to light skin and long straight hair in order for us to be successful. And I think that's what I'm trying to say here. Okay, that's it. And for all of y'all single black mothers, that are out there like me, you don't have to be embarrassed. You're great. You're great. And if other people can't see it, I see it. So you have a good day. And thanks, Toy Doll, for responding.